World Combat Sports. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Salute to all of you who follow Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Smash that like button on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. It will be much, much appreciated. We must get straight to the point. It's been like a media geyser across the platform. There's been so much talk about the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder debacle, the theme park orientated, the circus. And it's gathering up clowns every day that chooses to participate. So since there seemed to be a behavior of intoxication, so to speak, I wanna go over like a 12-step program, because a lot of these individuals are acutely delusional, believing that Deontay Wilder has not stepped up and tried to sign his contract. Let's just reflect a little bit. Light the candle, let it flicker, and if it just touched your thought process, cool. You have Joshua, who's saying, no one, this is in the beginning, the inception of the whole media dialogue, because we know Joshua never wanted to face Deontay Wilder face to face and say anything. He's not that guy. And I'm going to get back to this. Remember, he's not that guy to communicate with Deontay Wilder face to face. This has all been communicated over the media scrum, and people are having a field day with it. Point blank. It's like, they ran with it. So initially in the inception of it, Joshua mentioned that no one will make him do anything. He will fight Wilder when he's ready. Granted, we're talking 2018, 2019, 2020. He has a business plan. This is when he was trying to sell to the people. He's this extraordinary business plan, somewhat trying to emulate that of Floyd Mayweather, who, Anthony Joshua doesn't even have the resume, the comparability. He only has a social interaction with a guy. And that, in perspective, doesn't bring him any closer. And then came the $12.5 million flat fee. And that in itself, like the $12.5 million flat, meaning that Deontay Wilder will not receive any type of residuals, any type of contingents that him himself would benefit from off a bout that has all the making of exceeding 100 million. 100 million. That's the bulk load of it all. But why is this, if you ask yourself, why is this being delegated to Deontay Wilder in such a harsh and disrespectful, distasteful manner? Okay, that was the second one. Then third, Joshua once again, he went in the media and said, okay, I will take 50 million up front. If that's the case, Wilder team, bring me 50 million up front. We'll take the fight. That's basically saying to the American public, this is how he doesn't respect you all, the ones that sitting up here and co-signing on this nonsense. He said it himself out of his mouth in the interview that you bring him 50 million and everything is okay. So what should be the problem? The problem is many of you are still confused and trying to live vicariously through Joshua and not really holding him accountable for the lies that he continued to retread. He asked for the 50 million. He asked for it. Deontay Wilder didn't suggest it. Anthony Joshua asked for it. Next, he said, change of plan. Joshua wants to fight in the UK too. Okay, the agreement for the 50 million is Deontay wanted the fight to be a venue in the US, for it to happen this year, and no rematch clause. That was the agreement for the 50 million. Wilder and his team came up with the 50 million. It was verified. Communication was sent. Dialogue was active. And the attorneys verified that the money was indeed legitimate. So why didn't the fight go on? Because Joshua turned around and said, well, you got my 50 million. You stepped up to the plate. The stand-up guy, you're honest, you sustained integrity, but no respect is given back. Nothing is returned because he wants to fight in the UK. He expects Deontay Wilder to come up with 50 million, which has never been done, upfront money, to fight in the UK. when the agreement from Wilder and his team was for the fight to be in a venue in the U.S. at the end of the year, the next fight, it'll be next near the end of the year, and no rematch clause. Let's move on. Joshua also mentioned 95% of the fight will happen this year. 95%. The fight will happen. Him and Deontay Wilder will happen. He's been quoted in the media as saying 95% the fight will happen this year. We all know that was a bunch of malarkey. I'm going to use that word, malarkey. Gibberish. It was frivolous. Anybody who's believing that at this point in time was too gullible. Moving on. Josh said, you can't offer me a buyout clause. This is after he suggested the $50 million. You can't offer me a buyout clause. I'm not here to sell my belts. No one said you were selling your belts. No one's selling anything. We're just trying to get you to the grand stage to have this mega fight, champion versus champion, for one face, one name. That's all we're trying to do. And that's what Deontay Wilder's been advocating the entire time. So respect it. Joshua, you have been the one that's hidden the silhouette of Eddie Hearn's. You have chose your position in the shade, and you have did nothing that will cause you to get more fans to gravitate towards the unified heavyweight champion of the world. Nothing. You have did absolutely nothing. Nothing that you can say that can basically dilute your actions. You have sit up here and basically allowed him to be your cart before the horse. And you chose to allow him to just drive and drive and drive his own agenda. And you haven't stepped up to the plate and did anything about it. Moving on. In the interview, I like to make mention of this, that he did when he visited via satellite. Okay. They had a phone conversation, him and Stephen A. Smith. And he made so much to underscore. Joshua said he's a different animal. He's never been scared of no man. You know, he's making this point to have those gullible once again believe that he is the baddest man on the planet. And he is yet to prove that in standing up for himself and getting his point across that he really wants this fight. No, he's choosing to once again allow Eddie Hearn to be his talking piece. And what a bad talking piece that is, too. Then he mentions he's going to fuck Wilder up real bad. He's a well-rounded fighter. He's good on the outside and the inside. Okay, as fight fans and as him being the pugilist who steps in the ring, we pretty much understand the fight is going to be on the inside or outside. But there's several scenarios that we can reference that says opposite of that. You know, we didn't see all that nice, solid, well-rounded skill set when you was fighting Carlos Takam. We didn't see that quality all-around skill set when you just went 12 rounds with Joseph Parker and you was backing up and basically scurrying around the ring. And thank goodness that a ref was in there. One that was basically delegated for your needs and your needs only. Because time you all got remotely close to one another, that a drip of sweat might touch the other opponent, that referee was there to wipe it away. He was there. He was there for your benefit, Joshua. And you know that. Anyway, moving on. Now it comes to a point where the contract negotiations are pretty much just like a bowl of gumbo, a bowl of, slumgolian. It's just mixed all like Spam meat. It's just everywhere. Wilder team reached out and they wanted the contract there at a specific time. I'm not going to go to the specifics and give a chronological order. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it just the way I see this negotiation process going. I'm just going to keep it sporadic. I'm going to keep it energized. I'm just going to allow you, the fans, to be able to reach in and grab what you want. Now, the contract they requested to be there at a specific date. Then Eddie Hearns did not communicate back with Wilder and his team. So therefore, in not communicating, the time that they addressed for that contract to be back in their possession so they can look it over and sign it, it came after the deadline. So when they received that, it looked it over and found out that the contract was $50 million, and basically saying, listen to this now. They're basically saying in the contract, right, that nothing was said in the contract. Nothing. They didn't put a fight date. They didn't stipulate a venue. Nothing, people. This is how crazy this is, and this is top-notch businessmen that's communicating with one another, trying to make one of the biggest fights in boxing heavyweight history. You know, they're trying to make this come to the surface and mature, and you can't get past the juvenility of it all. So they sit the contract back after the deadline. They didn't stipulate when the fight will happen, a venue, or anything of that sort. So that's telling me that it's highly, you know, when you just get that feeling that it's disingenuous. You know, you look at it as being so serious that people will take it as such, and then you start to see the trend. And we've seen the trend from Hearns. And right when you think he's going to buckle down and be mature about the situation, it gets a lot more disingenuous. So they left an open-ended contract. Then after this is all said and done, Deontay Wilder has agreed to the $15 million. He's agreed to fight in the UK. Then all it has to do is, we want the bout next. That's the exclamation point right there. They want the bout next. But then all the other, well, let me procrastinate. Let me do every type of spiteful media, you know, bantering I can in Eddie Hearn, and talk around what's truly important, and nothing never came about. And then all of a sudden, what precipitated from that cloud of deception is the WBA comes out and said that the Alexander Povetkin and Anthony Joshua bout has a 24-hour mandate to sign, or else Joshua will be stripped. And that 24 hours trolleyed its way up and kept it moving way past the 24-hour date, and no one said anything. And it's all that's been mentioned is they're still in negotiation. It's a tough process. We want to make sure everything right. Look, you're dealing with a 38-year-old boxer. How much negotiation process is it? This is what you've been planning from the inception. You wanted to fight Joseph Parker, and then supposedly who? That's what we're trying to figure out, because it keeps changing all the time. It keeps changing all the time. Joseph Parker, Alexander Povetkin, and then Deontay Wilder. Okay, Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Which nomenclature do you want us to try to dial this in? Because it's so confusing to those who basically just peek in, they put their ear to a little bit, and then they leave and they just run with it and jump on social media and say, well, from what I'm saying, Deontay Wilder is unwilling to sign the contract, which is absolutely false. It's preposterous in many ways. So you get to that point where they had a 3-fight plan and nothing has been done. You've been skimming over the top in the media and just keep on talking and talking. And you know it's all frivolous, but as long as you can get your point out there, to place your narrative out there and summon those media pundits that are in your in your pocket, and you get them to basically express this out to the boxing public, you feel that you basically completed your agenda. And that's exactly what's been going on. It is absolutely absurd, man. You cannot continue to go back and forth with this and not understand who's the culprit of it all. Who is the one that is the instigator? Who is the one that's the antagonist? Who is the one that continues to speak as if they want this bout to happen? But when it comes time to communicate with another businessman that's in your field of work, you choose to disrespect him and won't give him the common courtesy. Then turn around and you try to discredit and vilify Deontay Wilder and his team as not wanting to fight or not doing enough to make the fight happen, when in fact, you're the one that's the Zorro that continue to ride in and out of the media scrum. And you think because you just put on this facade that people are going to see you as this hero, and it's not going to happen. It's wrong. And take a look at this, boxing fans. And I'm going to close it down. I think I said enough. Look at it this way. Boxing right now has a serious eclipse. It's just shaded so much good in the sport. And how I say that is, for the past 3 months, the media, the message that they have been sending out here to the fans who are really enthusiastic about seeing this bout, who's going on social media advocating for this bout, it all relies as if the power move lies contingent on what Eddie Hearns do. Like he's the power move. He's the power play. This is not a chessboard, because Eddie Hearns will allow you to believe it's chess. And then when you get ready to checkmate, he will flip the table. You know, I come up with these crazy off the wall theoretical summations, you know what I'm saying? But really, that's what he does. If you're close to getting checkmate, or is it checkmate, he will flip the table on you. And he's been doing that for the last 3 months. And it's very distasteful to the sport of boxing. It places an eclipse, a shade unlike any other. They're going to be talking about this for years and years. And the only positive thing I can look into something that's so negative is that it's going to be a ruinous type of stagnant layer that lingers over Anthony Joshua's career long after today. And the reason why I say that, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, he doesn't have the credentials yet. You just can't say you fought a Hall of Famer and that's going to put you in the Hall of Famer. Joseph Parker isn't a Hall of Famer. Who have you competed against outside of selling out, being a co-participant in selling out Wembley on that night with Vladimir Klitschko? Who else have you fought? Carlos Takam? He's not a Hall of Famer. Joseph Parker? He's not a Hall of Famer. Who have you fought? You never fought Tyson Fury for the titles because he vacated. Who have you fought? Who do you plan on fighting? Is Alexander Povetkin a Hall of Famer? Where does your resume start to tie in to all the extra work that you're doing? And Eddie Hearns come up with a 2-fight Wembley deal that, Shelly Finkel came up and basically said, this is it. It was a scam from the beginning. They had no intentions of making the fight. He basically mentioned, and give a shout out to the site who basically posted this, first. And it was a very, very informative article. You have to give it up to him. And, it's been floating around. A lot of people have been taking quotes from it and everything. And, when you find a piece like this, you really got to take it for what it is. And that'll be World Boxing News. Very, very informative article that they put out. Salute to them. They basically quoted Shelly Finkel was saying, "We agreed to fight Anthony Joshua in his next fight in the UK for 15 million flat. That is what we agreed to. We agreed to a flat fee, so we could fight him next." Finkel exclusively told World Boxing News on Wednesday. This is coming directly to World Boxing News. And then he say, what he is trying to do is what we call in the U.S. is a bait and switch. We have a lot of intelligent people here. Even though when it comes to disagreeing with Eddie Hearns, he's always quick to say he's flattered, but he totally believes that that person that disagreeing with him is deficient in intelligence. He's always talking about intellect, intelligence. Anyway, moving on. He say, Eddie Hearn sent a contract that he had no intention of honoring. He easily could have had September 22nd, 2018, and Wembley as the stadium in the agreement. He chose not to. The fact is, Anthony Joshua chose to fight Povetkin next. That's his choice. So anything he sent us in the non-agreement is gone. Y'all hear that? Anything that was sent in that non-agreement is voided, negated, consummated, absolved, period. All this 12.5, all this 15 million is negated. So you're thinking about showing up in the U.S. and do a public freaking circus act and act like you're signing a contract to put your foot on the gas as if you're the one that's leading the rush to get in the ring. It's not going to work. I know you think we're ignorant and stupid, but it's not going to work. He said, the fact is, Anthony Joshua chose to fight Povetkin next. That's his choice. So anything he sent us in that non-agreement is gone. Y'all need to chew that. Chew on it. Like a piece of beef jerky. Take that. I read it 3 times for you. Moving on. On when negotiation could be picked up again, Finkel added, I don't understand his sudden rush to sign an agreement now for April. He has a fight in September against Povetkin. What he's talking about, fight fans, is that the next signing or the next venue scheduled for Wembley, because Joshua wants this venue so bad. It's Joshua that needs to fight in Wembley to bring out his warrior spirit. It's scheduled for April 19. That's 10 months away. Moving on. There's no rush now, so he should concentrate on that, said the New Yorker, that being Shelley Finkel. The reaction from Finkel and Wilder's side should come as no surprise, as the WBC champion already told Hearn and Joshua he wanted a 50-50 deal after retracting his acknowledgement of a $15 million purse. And that is what he's saying about the non-agreement. They never agreed on the $15 million purse. So now that's gone, absolved, and they want a 50-50 split. Now, of course, he go on to say there is wiggle room, maybe forthcoming from Wilder on the split side. There is wiggle room. Okay, there's been wiggle room the entire negotiation process. They've been up here compromising the entire time with the 12.5 distasteful offer, low ball, to basically saying, okay, we'll fight you in the UK. And then, with the delay and the procrastinate and the disingenuous, it goes on that he goes in the media and slips up and say he wants 50 million. It's met. And then turn around and try to say, well, you give me 50 million and the fight goes in UK. It says a lot about Joshua's character that's going to be that halo over him for a long time in the sport in such a negative, ominous way. And then the article says that fight is due to take place by the end of the year, with fans keeping their fingers crossed. Wilder and Joshua will reignite now a possible $100 million 2-fight deal to take place in the UK next April, with a rematch in the United States. And that's in accordance to saying, yeah, if Deontay Wilder signed the fight in April, however that goes, and from what it seemed like in the initial contract that they sent, if Joshua wins, he get a rematch. If Wilder wins, he doesn't. So saying that the fight will take place in the U.S. is very contradicting, unless it's on paper that Wilder gets his rematch, as Anthony Joshua gets his rematch. So that's where you have the conflict of interest when it comes to negotiating. And listen, fight fans, you don't have to believe or listen to each and every word and latch onto it as if it's substance and if it's nutrition to what you need in this boxing entree that you get every day. Hey, it's a smorgasbord out here. It's a buffet of knowledge, and it has several sites out here that can give it to you. All of what I put on here is not always going to be chronologically efficient. That's not how I want it. I'm going to allow you to reach in and grab bits and pieces and put your own puzzle together with this information. It's only right. So that's my take on the whole deal. We're going to keep your ears full. We're going to keep the audibles active, loud enough and vociferous to the point where it sounds like horns and drums. In a minute, it's going to sound like a symphony. We're going to be the conductors, and we're going to play what we want. We're not going to allow the same tune to take over in the media with this nonsense that Eddie Hearns keep on trying to get y'all to believe is a lullaby. It's not a lullaby, people. So in that, this is World Combat Sports. I appreciate it. Salute to all the members who support. Once again, be sure to look me up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And please follow me on YouTube. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And we shall talk again. Be sure to turn up and tune in.